with the meeting at 9:03 a.m. Thank you for your attendance. Do we have anyone to move on the minutes of the 28th of February? Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 28th of February 2024 be confirmed.
We have a seconder. Councillor Burkett. All those in favour? 9-0. 10.1, Roma Sayard's water bubbler. Do we have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 acknowledges this report enacts Council Resolution OM/02.202419 and 2 receive and note the officer's report as presented.
Councillor O'Neill, I just wondered whether you would be also happy to put in a point about consult with the canteen operator out there about feedback about, you know, like, are we going to affect their business if we put them too close to anything, or just to get some feedback?
I don't know if this isn't enacting anything.
No, but like, well, it's going to go into the budget if what you're putting forward, I think, for, you know, as considered for 24-25.
I think the General Manager has a point.
If I could, so I have had discussions with the current leasee of the canteen, and they're not concerned of the additional bubblers. So
Oh, that's good.
That conversation has been held with the canteen leasee.
It's very important, I think, to ask the people that are affected.
I might just, as the vote before you get a second, I'll just add a third point, just for clarity of what you just said, and this be further considered as part of the 2024-25 budget deliberation.
Okay.
Question?
That council consider, that
Thank
council
you.
3.
Well, no, council, it'll be considered this further as part of the 24-25 budget deliberation.
Councillor Taylor.
I'm just wondering, I thought it was a little bit more urgent than that. No?
I'm happy to take direction from the room. Essentially, there's no capital budget allocated as of now. Given that we are over potentially the hottest part of the year, even if we went to go with it today, it would be still a month or so before we ordered it in, etc. So if it was approved in the next budget, we would enact it in July, essentially.
So I just happened to be at the meeting and it just sounded like they were really pushing for it.
Yeah, so I think from conversations I've had that people are happy that it's on its way and they understand that it'll take an amount of time.
Councillor Burkett.
I'm happy to second it, Mr. Mayor.
Righto. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll speak to the motion. Thanks very much for the report, Daniel. I recognise that there's no budget, and I know the two particular constituents that raised this with me will too recognise that there isn't current budget, but we'll be very happy if the next council considers this as a project for budget deliberation. Of course, there was another report that was initiated from the last meeting as well to have a look at the current bubblers right across the region, and so I think that will be able to be packaged up as a bigger project for that budget deliberations that the next council will consider. So thank you for the report, and I know the constituents will be happy that it is being kicked along.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? I'll speak. I think, this is a good thing. I also think we need to have a look at the different sort of water bubblers. Now people are reusing their own water bottle a lot of the time, so having bubblers that can fill up water bottles, I think, is a big benefit of revisiting this, and also have it in a few more spots that, there's a fair way from one end of the Sayards to the other, so it would be good to have something that can really connect in with that, but also refill water bottles, which has been a change as from the past. Does anyone else wish to speak? does the move wish to sum up?
Thank you. Just, you triggered another point. The people that use the facility that raised this with me, that why it came to council, was twofold. One is the point that you made about more people than not have those stainless steel water bottles and they want to be able to fill it up on sale day. But further, when there have been the plastic water bottles provided, some, not all, but some aren't finding the bin and they're being shoved in between the rails and the gates of the selling pens, which isn't ideal for a whole raft of reasons. So I think addressing this into the future is going to fix both of those problems.
Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay,
Page
30. 10.2, protection of airspace renewal energy. I'd like to move that council receive and note the report and make representations as outlined to all relevant governments and agencies. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie. Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, moving on.
Chair, was there a second to that?
Yes, councillor Guthrie.
Great, thank you.
10.3, Maranoa Childcare Bursaries Program. Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to move that Council, 1, receive and note the recent advice from TAFE Queensland. 2, acknowledge the average time of completion of diplomas and certification level qualifications takes approximately 18 months to ensure that registered applicants are provided a bursary on successful completion whenever that occurs, e.g. mid-year. 3, adjust the bursary for degree qualified applicants to apply from the first year or subsequent year of entry, providing a limit of 1 bursary per applicant per degree to encourage students within the sector to complete. 4, re-promote the bursaries with adjusted timeframes for registration before 31st of May 2024 to align with the semester enrolments and finalisation of qualifications.
We have a second, councillor Edwards. Does the move wish to speak to the motion?
I thank Mr Mayor.
I'll speak. Yeah, I think this is actually the good thing about council and getting support for this is we know childcare is a big issue. It actually stops people being able to go to work and actually stops people coming to the region as well or staying in the region. So anything we can do, and council having their own childcare bursary program is a very positive story to tell to people to come and work here and really make sure childcare is available. So with the shortage of staff all over Australia. So yeah, I think this is a very positive thing and appreciate the feedback that we're getting and look forward to getting on with it. Councillor Burkett.
Mr Mayor, I speak for. I think it's a great initiative, like our medical bursary, the success that was, and we've seen that come to fruition, and just the looks on those guys' faces to see that what they're getting, and I think this is a great thing to support all across the Maranoa. So I'm fully supportive.
Councillor Guthrie.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, if we talk about livability and we're fair dinkum, these are the sorts of things that really make a difference. And I do believe that people who have families and who are working families without childcare, it makes it extremely difficult. But I also wish to make a note here that there are additional strategies being undertaken. And I just want to share in June, Education Queensland is partnering with the kindy there, and they provide an early childhood trained teacher through Education Queensland. Does 2 and 3 days, so basically half with the kindy as well as the school. So I think if we can look outside the box, there are lots of other solutions as well that are able to be worked in that are actually a win-win for everybody.
Okay, does anyone else? Councillor O'Neill.
I've got a question first. Just in the report, it's got the resolution from the in-June meeting. The point 2, which is to seek potential funding partners to come together to explore cross-sector investment, including organisations such as Origin, Santos, Senex and South West Hospital and Health Service. We haven't had any report as to what's happened in that space.
Look, through the chair, what I can say is the discussions are continuing, sort of we're not quite there yet to be able to bring back a report, but even as recently as this week we've been working with Origin and they've been providing some basic feedback about how they would like to see us do more with childcare.
Specifically, the meeting was about the...
No, it was in relation to the agreement, but as you know, they provide us with worker transition funding for livability, and certainly they were very supportive of the initiative, and so we've been discussing with them, taking on board some of their ideas, received probably as recently as late last night, around some suggestions about additional stuff that we could do in relation to childcare. We'll frame that up and bring that back to council to consider.
And what about the interactions with the other companies? Because when the CEO of Senex was here and we spoke about this issue, and it's an issue affecting their business as much as affecting...
Yes.
What's happened with Senex?
Look, in relation to Senex, what Senex have said is they're happy to support any initiative, but they don't have any available funds at this point to do that. So that they'll certainly get behind promoting awareness in general around childcare and any initiatives that potentially the broader group undertake. And the South West Hospital and Health Service, we're having a constant dialogue with them in relation to health professionals and how this actually fits into health and wellbeing strategies, etc.
The Mayor, I'm happy to speak to it.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I'm supportive of this too. I think from the meeting that we had in June to now, I think that the need for this has only deepened. Obviously, there is a housing issue that we're facing in the region as well, and bringing in skilled early childcare officers is problematic because we don't have the housing. So this in itself will help grow our own. And as I shared in June, pleasingly, there has been an increase in TAFE graduates in this space, and the advice from TAFE is sound, and we should accept it if this resolution is supported, and we need to work our way to getting this on the ground, and we are educating and growing our own in early childhood, and hopefully stemming some of the problem that our community is facing because of the lack of employers in early childhood centres across the region. So I'm very happy to support it.
Councillor Edwards?
Yeah, I'll support it 100%. It does keep people in the town, and it also attracts professional people. You'll find professionals coming to this town can stay a bit longer if in fact they can get childcare, and it's a topical event, and it's actually happened just recently. I've had people actually approach me and say they want actually another childcare centre in town, not only this, but a childcare centre. So there's a great demand for it, but more importantly, it attracts those people, those professional people, and they can't stay here unless they get childcare. So it's very, very important, and that goes into the medical field. So it's very important for the Maranoa.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Does the move wish to sum up? No. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, moving on. We just got
Page 39.
page 39. Cobb & Co changing station coach request for asset changes. Councillor Hancock.
Happy to move, Mr Mayor. I just want to double check the budget. It's a bit confusing in the recommendation. Point 2 and point 3. I just want to confirm, Director Matt, point 2 is allocation of the $12,000 from Roo operational budget for the 23-24 budget, and then we're going to fund from the Roo local area budget by $12,000 on general ledger. Like, it's just a little bit confusing. Can I just have I'd like to move something, but I'd just like to know which budget to use, which line to use.
Councillor Hancock, through the chair, yeah, operational budget, is the correct terminology.
So is that point 2 and point 3, is the GL number in point 3 the correct GL number to use?
That's right. It is correct.
Perfect. Happy to move, Mr Mayor.
Please go ahead.
I move that council undertake the work, to help you out, Cal, it's point 2 in the advice to council. I move that council undertake the work and authorise the Common Code Committee to use the coach in the Easter in the Country Parade, pending work can be completed and permits are in place. Common Code Committee to request in-kind support from council to transport and load coach to and from the event. 2, fund this from Wuru local area operational budget by $12,000 ex-GST on general ledger number 02087.2017, Wuru Directorate.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
Question, and this is not, it's more Eastern the Country question. I'm in favour, but does Eastern the Country Committee, like if they're getting, so this is a boost for their parade, do they chip in or help, like, you know, when, say they want a good jumping castle, they pay for that to increase their carnival or whatever, would they come to the party and something like this usually, or I'm just a bit naive on the Eastern the Country part, that's all?
I can answer that. No, it's an opportunity for other groups to promote their stuff. And this, for me, whilst we are doing for Easter in the Country... Oh, sorry, Mr Mayor.
I've got a question.
I'm happy to talk. I'll
Well,
explain
okay,
more.
we'll do questions first. Councillor O'Neill.
I've no problem with this, but there's no budget for the horses. And my understanding was, having spoken to the president of the Yulbar Development Group, that he may have approached you for council to consider funding the horses. I was surprised not to see that included in this, because...
Well, I actually have a notice without motion I'm going to move.
Well, we probably...
Well, one is to get the coach right, and then...
The coach needs to be right, though, in my reading of this, to use it with the horses. So if we're not going to fund the horses...
Before the cart.
Very good. So I just wonder, why not put it, can you put it, you second it or something with councillor Hancock, but add that in there so it's the whole thing.
Well, we can. I was going to do, because the backup plan, if they can't get the repairs done, it could go on a trailer.
Trailer, I know that.
But really, it would be ideal to do both, and it's the 100th year, so it's
Do you want to add that in so it's the whole thing?
Yeah, well, we
We've
could.
got to find the money, but...
I've got the, yeah. So, well, do you want to do them as two separate ones, or what do you think, CEO? Is it close?
Well, this,
Councillor O'Neill's saying is we should do the other one before this one, if anything. Or
or add it in,
Yeah,
like make it one.
Just
Can't
suggest
do
an
this
amendment,
one
Mr
when we
Mayor.
haven't approved
Yeah,
it.
righto. Okay, so,
So through the chair, the only challenge you've got is one is a request for sponsorship from a group to the office of the mayor, and the other one is actually a staff-generated report around
Asset
conversations
management.
in relation to the asset maintenance.
Correct.
Just
You,
lay it on.
you can follow them.
Move we
you
lay
can-
it on the table till after the...
Why not do it consecutively? There's nothing to stop you from moving an item without notice after you do, after you do this. It does make sense that they stick together, they're side by side.
But your point, Edwina, and it's right, the reports come from the director, but once it comes into this room, it's owned by the council.
Sure.
So if the mayor wanted to add an amendment to this, then to councillor Burkett's point, it is making sure it's not the cart before the horse, that it's all together.
Yeah, certainly, and you could expand the motion, but you'll just need to move and second that. Has that already been moved as it is, or we're still in debate?
Has it
about
moved?
what the motion-
I've moved it. No,
okay,
So Mr
so,
Mayor, you
we
can
could
add it
to
in.
it.
okay, so okay, well, so we can do it in one go, then,
I would suggest you second it with an amendment.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So, yeah, I'm happy to second it. With-
Jeff move a procedural motion.
Well, yeah, you did actually.
Sorry?
So,
He moved a procedural motion.
to lay it on
I'll
the table.
withdraw that if we're going to do this.
Okay.
Righto. So, well, to the mover, if we could add what would it be? Point 4,
No, point 3.
point 3.
Cal, you've broken it out. And take a look. Righto. Yep.
Yeah, point 3, to sponsor the Cobb and Co Festival, Australia's last run, for the amount of $5,000 to provide the services to the Easter in the Country Festival to promote the upcoming 100th year festival of Cobb and Co. And 2, to fund from sponsorships and donations, GL, $2,887.2249.
Mr. Mayor, can I?
I heard it was 7.
No, we've got a price here,
A copy of the letter,
Yep.
yep.
and I'm happy to just share that.
I think that has been circulated.
Has it been? Has everyone got it?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't said.
904.
But,
Oh,
yeah,
is
just,
it?
yeah.
Mr.
this
Mayor,
morning.
can I just help
Yep.
with a bit of tidying up of the
Yep.
words? Is that all right? Just when Cal brings it back up.
Thank you.
We do have an email. Sorry, Councillor Moore, can I just? Right, Cal, can we go, just to keep it all together, can we put the point that the Mayor just made, those two last, can we just drop them so that the funding of the $12,000 is about the authorising the coach repairs? Yes, it should be council and take the work and authorise the Cobb and Co committee to use the coach in Easter Country Parade. And maybe we can just add to it to make it simpler and fund this from just, no, the next one up, after Country Parade. Yep.
Mayor, I have a question. I thought this was to transport the coach. This,
No, this is actually to use the coach in the parade with the horses. So there's two things happening here.
yeah, I got the quote here. It
One's the
doesn't say anything
maintenance of the
about
coach,
transportation, it's
and the
nothing
other
to do
one's
with
the
job.
parade.
It's to actually, the committee have a quote for,
Horse and
That's for the
team and
people.
driver
Yeah.
for the day.
But that
Yeah, but
doesn't
not
say to shift him from Surat to Rome or.
That's in the 12 grand.
so that's in the 12, that'll be, so that's in the in-kind, that's in the in-kind.
We've got, through the chair, Councillor McNullen, we've got the trailer, and I'm assuming through in-kind that council will deliver that.
That's
Yeah.
all. I just,
So-
when I read the quote,
Cal, are we right to go again? So fund the sponsorship donation, sorry, the $12,000 needs to be taken up to the yellow in the country parade. I'd also like to add, and fund the $12,000, yep, so that's good. That's point 1. Point 2 is request the Cobb and Co committee for in kind to transport it to the event. And then the point 3 was what Mr. Mayor said would be to sponsor. It's going to be one of those days,
It's just a
Cal.
lag, isn't it? Yep. So, it's, so the
Sponsor. I've got.
request is from the committee to sponsor them.
It's sponsoring the horses,
Yep. For the amount of.
Horse
To-
and team and driver.
to sponsor the horse team and driver
For a full day.
For a day.
to to pull the coach in the Easter in Country Parade.
Yep.
To promote the Cobb and Co Festival
The centenary, yeah.
centenary, the Cobb and Co Festival centenary event for the amount of $5,000. We're sponsoring the horses for the parade, we're not sponsoring it for because we've already done sponsorship for that. I was just trying to separate
You'll
that
have to
out.
put 5,000 plus GST or 5,500
Yeah, I haven't
including
seen that,
GST.
sorry.
Does anyone want that?
Go with
Cobb and Co Festival centenary event.
Have a look at
And
that.
we need to sponsor the Cobb and Co Festival. What's their official name?
Cobb and Co
Cobb and Co
Festival Committee.
Festival
Righto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a committee, an incorporated body, or?
Yeah, it's Cobb and Co Festival.
So the $5,000 is,
Sponsor
yeah,
the Cobb and Co
ex-GST.
Festival for the horse team and driver to pull the coach in the.
Sponsor the Cobb and Co Festival.
How do they get to the 12 grand? How does that,
The director's in charge of that.
how did you work that one out?
So just through the coach builder who's doing the maintenance, he's provided us with quotes to undertake initial maintenance
get
and
rid of
then the
Centenary
long-term
and
maintenance. Yep.
Okay. The figures
And the
here are a bit
festival.
Oh, I-
different.
Sponsor the Cobb and Co Festival.
I actually put in a contingency because it's a bit variable when they're working on the coach. I put in another 2,000 to take it up to from 10 to 12, just to make sure we actually cover that cost appropriately.
To fund.
So that's
a horse
ex-GST or
team.
would-
Yeah,
Ex-GST.
fund a horse,
Fund 12,000 ex-GST.
a horse
Yep,
team and
correct.
driver to pull the coach in the Eastern Country to promote the event. The centenary event would be good. Let's point out that it is the 100-year.
Yeah, that's a big,
Event.
it's a big year.
Ex-GST,
For the
yeah.
amount of
I'm-
$5,000.
Yeah, they've got plus GST down here. Can we have plus GST up there or something?
Yeah.
It's in my original report, ex-GST, but it should be recorded as ex-GST.
Yeah,
Ex-GST?
ex-GST.
Righto.
Yep, thank you.
Up the top of the 12,000, Cal, we need to put ex-GST in brackets,
Because
please.
we're paying it out, aren't we? Not to ourselves. Okay, good. Right.
Do you want me to read all
Yeah,
that?
it might be good just for clarity. Yeah.
I move that council, one, undertake the work and undertake the work,
Just before you read it out,
we need
you
to
might have to get the request Cobb and Co committee requesting kind.
request Cobb and Co committee request, oh yeah.
Council.
That council,
Cobb and Co committee request. Approve Cobb and Co.
yeah, the council approves Cobb and Co committee's request, yeah. Approves Cobb and Co committee request of in-kind support.
Support from council, yeah.
And can I just put undertake the work required, please, on the first
The first one.
required?
Excuse me, CEO,
CEO.
do we need the GL for the sponsorship as well?
Through the chair, you
Yeah,
actually do
GL.
have that. I've got plenty of
That's
them.
it.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
It's,
Sorry about that.
But yeah, can we just pull that up? Sponsor the Cobb and Co. Event
$5,000
permit. Funded from, just pull it up, Cal, please, funded from sponsorship donations.
From GL 2887.2249. Beauty. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I move that council, one, undertake the work required and undertake the work required to the coach and authorise the Cobb and Co committee to use the coach in the Easter and the Country Parade and fund $12,000 and for this to be funded. No, that doesn't make sense either. Gosh, it's hard work. Easter and the Country Parade and fund $12,000 ex-GST from Maru Directorate General Ledger number 02087.2017 to approve Cobb and Co committee's in-kind, Cobb and Co's committee's request of in-kind support from council to transport and load coach to and from the event. 3, sponsor the Cobb and Co Festival Committee to fund a horse team and driver to pull the coach in the Easter and the Country Parade to promote the centenary event for the amount of $5,000 plus GST funded from sponsorship donations GL 2887.2249.
Okay, I'm happy to second that. So does the member wish to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. There is two parts to this motion. One of them is that the coach requires work to be done to it to be able to make it safer and more practical to be able to use in the actual event in August. So I think this is great that we can get that work done before the Easter and the Country event, which is the second part to it, where the coach can be used in the Eastern Country event to promote the Centenary Festival. As we've all heard as councillors, the 100-year festival of the last coach run from Surat to Yulbar happening in August is really, really important to both not only Surat and Yulbar communities, but also the flow-on effect for the whole of the region. And the committee's working really, really hard to promote not just Surat and Yulbar, to actually keep people in the whole region. It's really exciting for our town. It's really exciting for both those towns. It's really exciting for both the regions. And I just think that this is a proactive move from council to support the use of the coach and to support the horses to go in the Eastern Country Parade. We're actually supporting two major events in our region at once. And the promotion that the Cobb and Co Festival will get by having the actual coach come out of the museum and be put in the parade will be so beneficial to the festival. And so I just am very excited that this has come to the table today, and hopefully with council support we'll look forward to watching that coach go down the road in the parade and then being suitable to be used on the actual festival date in August.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Burkett.
Mr Mayor, I think it is great that we can use or utilise our own staff in any way to help bring this to fruition. I think it's awesome to have the actual stagecoach involved and like Councillor Hancock said, to be involved in two things in the 1 year. It helps for promotion, but it also, well, it helps the Eastern Country as well. Having organised a 100-year event, I'm fully supportive of helping, because we had a lot of roadblocks with bureaucracy and that when we had ours, and I'd like to be fully supportive of this so there's no hiccups, because it is a major event, and I look forward to seeing it happen in the end of the year, so definitely fully supportive.
Yeah, does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Guthrie.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that fully supportive of this here, and I think it's really good because we have started the momentum back we started last year with the bullock dray and the bullocks that we funded for a period of time. It started to get a little bit of an inkling. As we're getting closer to the actual event, I think it will start to build with intensity, and there's a lot of people that I've spoken to who are planning to come. So the more we get the word out and the more that we actually start promoting, I think it'll be a fantastic event.
Righto. Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, I'd be supporting it 100%. It is a unique event. It's a unique asset, or, you know, the coach. And you don't see this every day. So I'd like to congratulate everyone on where it's got to. And I wish them all the best in the event. And, you know, the thing is, people out there looking for sort of out of the ordinary events these days. So I hope, you know, I hope we get lots of people, because it's a very, very attractive event and a very, very attractive town.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? I'll speak. I'd just like to congratulate the local director from Waroo, Director Matt. Thank you for all the work that you are doing. I feel you're very much on top of what happens in the region, and I'm glad you're proactive and you're liaising with the coach builder and your staff are. I think this is very important as we move forward, so I'm glad that work is being done, and very happy to support the request for the 100-year celebration. It's a really big one, so to be able to have the coach rolling down the streets at Easter in the country, and, you know, I would also like to see on how we can get the whole of the Maranoa to benefit from the festival, and I know that's the organisers are thinking the same way. So, you know, this is one way that we're reaching out to the thousands that will be here at Easter time. Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll speak. I'm supportive of this. I think this will be the second time that I can recall that council has supported the stagecoach and the horses being in the Easter in the Country Festival. I was one of the councillors with former Deputy Mayor Scott Wason and Councillor Joy Denton were the ones in period costume all those years ago. And what an amazing billboard that parade is, with thousands upon thousands of people that visit over the eastern country, with it still being the premier event in our entire region each and every year with that number of people. I think if we can have this stagecoach and the Cobb & Co is part of it, I think it's going to really promote the event that's coming up in August, and I'm confident that you'll see people that attend eastern the country over the Easter weekend coming back in August to celebrate this event as well. So I'm very happy to support, and I think it'll be money well spent to support two very important events that are going to happen this year on our regional calendar.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Does the move wish to sum up?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yes, just to say that Councillor O'Neill is right. This is the second time that this has happened. When I was the Local Development Officer in Surat for the 90 Years Festival, I brought the same report to Council asking for Council to use a coach. What's really exciting about this is that coach was built as a working coach for the Surat community. So it is actually built to get out on the road. What happens is that the horses have got very expensive to be able to get it out and get it on the road. And so it is an amazing opportunity every 5 years when the festival comes around to be able to do the maintenance on the coach, get it out. Like we're whilst the maintenance is done, we're using it in that year, twice in that year. And so I just think that is really proactive from a council's point of view to actually pull that coach out and get it on the road and get it used. I just want to point out that it's not only promoting, it's not only supporting the Easter in the Country event, it's not only supporting the Cobb & Co Festival event, but it actually has got Cobb & Co changing station on that coach as well. It's a billboard for our Surat local tourism for the Cobb & Co changing station. So it just ticks so many boxes to get that coach out of our museum and get it on that road and promote not only the festival but also our Cobb & Co changing station in Surat. So once again, I will be supporting this and looking forward to it with Council's support to getting it on the road twice in 1 year.
Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Thanks, Council. Pleasure working with you this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, moving on to
Page 45.
45, applications through Regional Arts Development Fund, RADF, Program 2023-2024. Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to move that Council endorse the RADF Committee's grant assessment recommendations for the application received on the 21st of February 2024.
Mayor,
Well, we got councillor second. Did you have a question?
I was going to move an amendment.
Right, okay, well, you can do that.
I just asked Councillor Taylor if she would add in there grant assessments recommended for Roma Patchwork and Crafters and to the value of $2,485 for the Roma Patchwork and Crafters.
You want them named in it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And the amount.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. I was going to mention the amount, but yeah, we can put in there, that's fine.
Councillor Hencock, do you have a question or are you
No, I
going
was
to
just
second?
going to second it. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Righto.
2,000, sorry, Kel, it's 2,485.
No, not you.
No.
Righto, so is this, you happy to second that?
Yeah, I'm happy to second it.
Oh,
No,
I've
I
already
thought
seconded
Councillor
it.
Hancock
Yeah.
did.
Oh, you already seconded it?
I did.
You just asked me a minute
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
been a long week.
Yeah, okay, so therefore, does the seconder happy with that change?
Yes, thank you.
Righto, so councillor Hancock seconds that. Okay, does the mover wish to speak to it?
Yes, please. I'd just like to say that this is another great project for the RADF. I mean, it's only a very small amount of money and we actually do have a fairly good budget still, which is great. I did see another one's come through the other day, so that'll have to be for the next council. But I'd also like to say that I have really enjoyed my 4 years being on the RADF committee, even though I wasn't that keen to start with because I had no idea what it was all about. But now that I do, so it's been a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed it. And they're a great team, and it's really nice when you can just help those smaller people, and they're just so passionate about their craft and whatever they come to the table with. So it's been a real pleasure. Yeah.
Does anyone else wish to speak?
Yeah.
Councillor Hancock?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I too support this grant recommendation, and I would just like to let council know that since we've changed our RADF funding where it's an open funding all year round and people can apply, that it was very slow to start with until people got used to that change, but it actually has been quite successful now. They don't have to wait for a grant funding opening. It's opening at all times. So that has been successful. It's really good to see some momentum and seeing some of these grants requests coming through from the community. I too would like to say that I've really enjoyed my time as the RADF, and it has been quite a pleasure to work with, and I'd just like to acknowledge the committee members, which is I would love to acknowledge Sue Sands, Chris Riddell, Vicky Bites, Sally West and Sandra McDonald. It has been a pleasure to work with the RADF committee over the last 4 years, and I am looking forward to watching the continued success of the RADF funding because it adds real support to our community. I just really enjoy my time. So thanks so very much.
Does anyone else wish to speak? I'll speak. We have these coming through from my time in council, and I think generally they're always supported. It's good to see a mix of different groups in the Maranoa receive funding, and it's a really nice part of council to be able to support these groups working in the arts and delivering some very interesting programs and workshops and initiatives, so I'll certainly be supporting this. Does anyone else wish to speak? Does the move wish to sum up?
I'd just like to also say, and I'm very remiss of me to thank Tennille.
Yeah,
she's worked very hard. She's learnt a lot, and she's put everything she's got into it. She's very passionate about it. So, Tennille, we say thank you to you as well. Yeah.
If I could, through the chair, Tennille is sick today, so hence my presence, but I'll pass it on to her, so thank you.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, all those in favour? 9-0.
Hello. You're never getting away from me.
14.2, material change of use to establish a food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee at 41 Quinton Street, Roma. Reference 2023/20962. I have a question. So what's obviously we've got concerns about it and so forth. Do they have some ability to change it, or what's the process?
So we did request further information from them. We raised our concerns about the traffic issues with the applicants. Their response was limited in their response. And in speaking with our internal infrastructure team, the only alternative that I could see as a non-engineer was that they could enter off Bowen Street and exit off to Quinton Street, but the impact that would have on our local network wasn't supported by our infrastructure team. So no, I couldn't see an alternative design that would work for that site for that use.
Councillor Guthrie?
Yeah, I have a question, and I actually have the picture of that corner. Has any contact been made with TMR, given the fact that long-term that has been an absolutely appalling corner with accidents, and you've got a number of, I'm just very keen because I see they've got divided roads, they've tried to solve the danger attached to that particular corner of Quinton and Bowen.
Yes.
Has TMR been involved in any discussions, or do they have any input or advice as to this proposal?
So Main Roads have approved it. I had extensive conversations with them at application stage, raising my concerns with this activity, especially on that intersection. They basically, I spoke to as many officers as I could in the state with my concerns, and they still issued their approval. So they have approved it on their network.
Through the chair, that's Sarah, isn't it?
Yes.
Councillor
Mr.
McMullen?
Mayor, that was gonna be my question. It's not surprising they did approve it because that's the same issue we had up at the traffic lights corner.
Exactly.
And if this was to be, in my opinion, I'm not an expert, if this was gonna happen, it would have to come off Bowen Street, one-way traffic, but, I mean, probably, well, there's reasons our staff have,
Councillor
Right.
Ladd?
Through you, Mr Mayor. So what do you think will be the next step for the development?
For
Like, will
this
they-
application,
You know, because it's been approved by,
Hasn't been approved.
main roads, yep.
been approved by Main Roads. So, what do you think what'll happen after that?
Based on my conversations with the applicant when we issued the information request, I have no doubt we will be in appeal on this one, which is why I did seek some independent traffic advice before making this, so someone other than council has looked at this as well, and agrees with our recommendation that based on basically the information we've been given doesn't resolve our concerns, and he does not believe that with this type of use, that site it can't work.
So,
Well, DNR must
Just
think
some
it
other
will work,
questions.
Yeah.
because otherwise they wouldn't have let it go
sorry,
through.
we'll keep going. Who was next?
I don't care. You go.
Well, Councillor Hancock, then Taylor, then O'Neill.
Mr Mayor, I'm just wondering through you, is there a time period, does this have to be decided today? Because I guess my question is I'd like this to come to a briefing because I don't want to say no to development. I actually think that we need to have development in our towns. So I don't want to just sit here, and I know I have the report in front of me, but I think that a comment, Officer Kate, that you made was that, you know, there was a suggestion of our local road network, but our infrastructure team have said, well, that the impacts of that. Well, I need to know about those impacts and why before I make this decision today. So I'm just wondering, is it time sensitive or can we, and I know it's bad timing as in because it could be a new council, but I actually think that the new council will be dealing with this anyway. So is there a time sensitive, can we afford a briefing on this?
Our decision-making period ends on the 12th of March, so unfortunately there wasn't a briefing this week to be able to discuss it with you guys before the meeting today. So it would be at the applicant's agreement to extend our decision-making period until April for them, for it
Sorry,
to be.
Kate, I missed that. What was the 12th of March?
That's when our decision-making period
Oh,
ends.
okay.
And how much does it, like, what's the process to be able to go back to the applicant to ask for an extension on that?
So if I can request an extension, they have the ability to agree or not agree. If they don't agree and council don't decide it, we're in deemed approval risk because it is code assessable.
So through the chair, councillors, you would have to agree to defer it.
Yeah.
And just,
Okay, no, so next is Councillor O'Neill, or was it Taylor?
Kate, I'm just looking on page 51 here, when everybody's saying have to be Bowen Street. So is there how is their intention, I haven't actually don't understand it to be, like going in and out?
68, 80, 89, sorry. I was looking upside down back to
89.
front. 89 is the picture there.
So is there restrictions on how they can get in and out?
Traffic management.
So they've got left in, left out onto Quinton
Oh,
Street is
yeah, sorry, I
their
missed that.
proposal.
So it's not on Bowen Street at all?
No.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah, at the moment.
Councillor O'Neill?
So I was going to ask a similar question to Councillor Hancock, but did I just hear that it's only 1 month extension? Is that, or you can ask for a 2-month extension?
You can ask for, yeah, so extensions by agreement aren't limited to how long we can request the extension to be for.
And is that something that could be asked today for council to know whether we do make a decision today or not?
Yep.
And the only reason I ask...
Through the chair, the one thing I would flag is you've got a deemed approval risk and you've got a recommendation that's actually rejecting the application. So, continue with the question, but that's quite a significant risk.
What's the deem approval risk?
That if they don't consent and we can't decide, that it's deemed to be approved.
Well, we
Right.
I think, well, my view, we'd make if they don't want an extension, we make the decision today.
That's right, that's right.
I mean, we need TMR, right? I mean, I saw your face, right, and that's where mine went. Like, this is the same but materially worse than the traffic lights because of you've got more turns and trucks coming in different directions. We have to understand, what are we missing? As a council and external people, what are we missing that TMR are not seeing? Or what are we not seeing that TMR are, that this is okay? Because it doesn't feel right, and that's why we did what we did on that other corner. So, but I'm with Councillor Hank. Like these are people that want to invest in our community.
Might be a better block somewhere.
Well, true, it could be, but you know they've got businesses attached to where they're. So I wouldn't mind understanding at least whether there is appetite from the applicant, but it couldn't be 1 month, because I think that's incredibly unfair to the new council, and the timing might catch you with the first meeting of the new council. It'd have to be 6 or 8 weeks to defer for a decision.
And through the chair, what I'd be saying is if you don't have clarity today about the applicant being in agreement to an extension, that you need to think about the risk of that. Yeah.
Well, that's why I say I think we may need to make the decision
That's right.
today. But is it a matter, can I just procedurally, is it a matter of just laying it on the table to get an appetite, whether they're open to that, and that will inform what we do, whether we do formally defer it or we make a decision?
Well, yeah, let's get all the questions out of the road.
Yep, just
So,
with that block, that's been for sale for a long time. Is it subject to sale if this goes through, or is it the owner that doing it? Because, you know, that block, no matter, excuse me.
It's in the report.
But, so if, that doesn't go ahead, what are we gonna put on that block? You know, like that's been vacant for 20 years.
There was a previous approval back in 2012 for offices, which had a similar entry and exit plan, but that obviously has a very different traffic impact and traffic movement.
Yes.
And that was approved, and that could have gone ahead to whoever owned it or had the approval chose not to. But this site, the entry and exit off Quinton Street for other uses is not as big a concern as the scale of traffic impact that a drive-through Zarafas would have.
For coffee.
Okay, Councillor McMullen, then
When I read
Edwards.
the report, it clearly says Roma Central. That's the motel, so I'm assuming they already own the land.
So the landowner is Warrego Equities and Challenge United. I don't know who they are tied to, and the applicant is Roma Central.
Okay.
So that's what concerns me, is just that it's been vacant for that long, and it is a bit of an
No,
eyesore.
but that's not really a question.
no, it's
So, Councillor Edwards?
I too want economic development, obviously, but I'm just perplexed with TMR again, how they have okayed it. But have they done it on the basis, I mean, that, you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken are there and there's other buildings, you know, it's already inhabited there by the school, you know, Kentucky Fried, and then you got the neighbourhood centre. So it's already there. Why wouldn't you allow to put that there? Because everyone else is there. So why wouldn't you? It's a
Well,
sorry, Kate. I'm not asking you a question about that, but I'm just saying.
TMR have said to do it. TMR have said to do it.
Yeah, I know that. Sorry, but sorry, I got a bit confused then. But so what I'm saying is, you know, it's no different to the other, you know, to the other three there, because they've all got access. You take Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know, the people that go up there and then they
I could answer that pretty quick, Mr Mayor.
Well, no,
I know, but
we've
Yeah, you've
got
got to proceed to
Councillor
motion on
Guthrie.
it,
Through you, Mr Mayor, Kate, do we get anything from TMR actually explaining why they approved? Or was it just guesswork as in they're happy? Do we get any formal confirmation as to the decision-making process that they undertake and the factors that they consider and the why they go, yes, it's okay?
We would have their statement of reasons. I can bring that up.
If we're laying it on the table, Mr Mayor, can that come back to us for later in the meeting?
I've got one more question before.
Yeah, and I've got another question as well. Councillor O'Neill?
This is, Councillor Edwards raises a really valid point. Why can't it mirror what happens on the opposite intersection where it would just be as busy as a coffee shop, that they come in off Quinton Street and exit on Bowen Street, just like the other business
Yes.
does across the road.
That's when we need a briefing.
Just, well,
Yeah, go on.
Well, can I,
yeah, yeah.
Kate may have an answer, I don't know.
So from a intersection perspective, vehicles coming into KFC aren't in that intersection, so there's not impacted by the turn manoeuvres, particularly the heavy vehicles coming off the Warrego and heading north.
So I was gonna say.
That's where our biggest concern is around that conflict point, whereas where the KFC entrance is away from that intersection. So it is still on the corner, but their entrance doesn't involve movements at that
Which
intersection.
they should have
So
a
my
turning lane
follow-up then
anyway.
is the position that council came to because of the impact on our roads on Bowen Street. What is stopping the entry point being off Bowen and exiting on Quinton? Because it's the same impact, whether it was the opposite way, just as it is. I get the safety point, but the impact on Bowen Street, our road, you're either going to get them coming in or going out there. So I don't quite understand.
I can definitely get some further
That was the
advice
question
from
I
them.
asked. What we need to know the impacts that our infrastructure crew have said about like road, because I had the same thought.
Because KFC's making that impact.
That's right.
Okay, we're doing questions. Councillor Burkett.
Just at the moment, I drove past there today and there was a prime mover reversing onto the block. I'm assuming from the across the road mechanical spot. So at the moment, it's getting used for car park. So that's all fine because a lot of times you see a lot of trucks parked in there. Is it at the moment, is it classified as a storage, a car park, a lay down? What, it just,
It's basically a vacant block that we have.
and they can do,
sort of,
technically do what they're doing?
Not lawfully, no, but we haven't taken compliance action on it.
Councillor McMahon.
Mr Mayor, the concern I see, whether it's coming in or out on Quinton Street, you get a road train pulled up at the give way sign coming in from the east on Bowen Street, goes around the corner, starts going around the corner, and a couple of cars decide they're gonna go in or out, we end up with a road train blocking the other lane coming from the traffic lights south. Yeah, that's
If
why-
they do the wrong thing by not giving way.
Well, they can give way and go to move, and they've got a car coming from.
No, I mean, the people coming out of that have got to give way.
And if you're going in, you get a car coming from the railway line.
But as an exit point,
Yeah.
they've got to give way to all traffic coming out of there, so they should be abiding by the
Well,
law.
how come
Can I just
TNR
raise a
hasn't
potential
come up with
issue?
that?
Can I just ask Councillor Taylor, do you still own that across the road?
Yes.
I wonder if that's a declarable conflict of interest.
Next step.
Yeah, so now that we are directly talking about Bowen Street, I just thought I'd raise it for you to do whatever you need to do with it.
I can leave the
No,
room.
well, it's a bit, you've got options to
You
put
would
it
have
to us.
declare.
You got to declare.
Look, you got to.
Yeah.
Whisper.
Well, we were talking about.
I know, but we've got to it. That's why I raised it.
We've got to receive your motion.
No.
Have you got a question?
Dusty's.
Well, hang on, we need to deal with
Yeah.
this.
You want me to declare?
Well, it's up to you. You're the one that's
I'm
got
happy
it.
to declare.
Sorry, I brought that in. I didn't know that.
You can put to the room, or you can make your mind up.
Can't know everything, councillor.
I don't think it's.
Said councillor Burkett can't know everything.
To be honest, I didn't even know the name of it.
I'd like to declare a conflict of interest. On 14.2, minor change of existing development permit, material change of use, undefined use reference 2022/20698. The declaring councillor is myself, Wendy Taylor, the person. Oh, there's more, oh, sorry, yeah, sorry. Material change of use to establish a food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee at 41 Quinton Street, Roma, reference 2023/20962. Is that right? Declaring councillor is myself, Wendy Taylor. The person of interest or related party is, I'm just trying to think of the number, 32 Bowen? It is 32 Bowen Street,
Just name
which
the
is
business.
which is a commercial property that I own and Bowen Street has been mentioned in the report. Actually,
Is it?
Layer Proprietary Limited own it, sorry, Kel.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
LayersHire. It's a declarable conflict of interest, and I'll leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
We have options. There's two options, it's just, they're just
No,
not
I'll
there.
go. I'll go.
Councillor Edwards, you had a question?
Yeah, no, mine will be more discussion, thanks.
May I move it, we'll lay it on the tables or later in the meeting?
Well, I've just got one more question, if we can just hold off and get that, and then, because I think someone else
I've got
suggested
another
that.
question too.
Please go ahead.
Just looking at the map, live map, or not live map, the photographic one, there's a barrier, like a painted barrier, like that you can't
cross.
turn in there at the moment. So that'd have to be reconfigured either way. On Bowen, like into that block. You can see where, on the map, you can see vehicles have driven over that, but technically it's a no-go zone for some reason or other, but that would have to be looked at as well, either entry or exit. So if that, they probably all over that, but I'm just,
Yeah, through the chair, the traffic calming would be assessed already by SAR.
yeah.
Councillor O'Neill?
Well, I flagged to move it on the, lay it
Yeah,
on
no,
the
but
table.
I've just got a question.
But
Have
I was
you got a
just-
question?
Well, kinda, it's, all of these questions are great, but unless we know whether the applicants have appetite to delay it for a period, we're making a decision today, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, we will. We'll lay it on the table to find that out, but we're getting rid of all the questions so
Right.
people don't come back with questions. Do you have a question?
Yes. To CEO, would we be able to go down and have a look at the site?
Yeah.
Because I think we need to do that. No, I'd just
and
like to
through the
see,
chair,
go
that
there
can be
and look at it.
discussed.
Would that be
Well,
an
there'll-
option?
There'll be morning tea if you want to do it or whatever. My question is, obviously we're on a tight time frame. Do we have an ability to say no subject, but we want to hear more information about how else they're going to do it or modify the traffic plan? Is there any way that we can put some detail so it's a no with, so we don't just end up in court just because?
So you could issue a preliminary approval that has conditions around what you would want to see. So it would give them theoretical rights to have a drive-through coffee shop, but they would need to address whatever ABC of our concerns around that. So, or it's refused, and then in the sort of without prejudice process of the court appeal, you could resolve it through there.
And is that before you get to the, whatever court it is?
Through E&P, you'd still
Yeah,
be
so
there.
they would lodge an appeal to the Planning and Environment Court, but before it then goes to trial, there's an extensive process of without prejudice discussions that, you could then attempt to resolve the issues.
Or you could put, like you said,
A preliminary approval.
preliminary approval, but they've got to sort out the traffic side of things.
Because there's enough space to get back on the road, like a turning lane already there. That's not,
Okay, do we have a question,
Yeah,
Councillor
I've got a
Edwards?
question. We're talking about we're talking about that part, the traffic and everything, but what about the rubbish truck? Is that fixable? Or are we wasting our time here? Because if the rubbish truck, does it need to obviously get in there, doesn't it?
Yes,
So what's the
so on the
story on the
current
road?
layout, no, the rubbish truck cannot get on and get in and get out in a forward gear, which is something we push for, especially around that area, because existing uses, you will quite often see vehicles reversing in, which has its own traffic risks, so.
But can it be, can that be attended to in any shape or form?
With the
I mean,
current
if it
layout,
can't
no,
be-
they would have to rejig the entire site, which if that's something we're looking at anyway, potentially it could.
Right.
I'm not an expert, there's
No.
potentially room for it, but.
But it is fixable and therefore we can go ahead with it, because if it was not fixable, they could never comply with 20.2 and 20 point.
Not with their current layout, no, they can't.
Right, okay.
And that's the issue that I have, is that their service vehicle manoeuvring is at the same place that their queued vehicles are.
Yeah.
So there's either they're gonna try and have service vehicles coming where there's no vehicles,
Yeah.
or they're gonna have to
So they're
reverse
going to
in.
have to rejig.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Okay, is there any more questions before
just
someone
on,
lays it on the
just
table?
on that, I don't think they can, their entry, because like you say, to reconfigure that, they wouldn't get it the other direction. And they're coming in, if they're coming in from Boeing or leaving Boeing, they're more or less coming straight into their, oh, I've got to get a coffee on the way past and turn, like, you know what I mean? Like it, yeah.
Okay, no other questions? Well, who moved that first? I know. Right, was it O'Neill or McMullen?
I'll move that we lay this on the table till later in the meeting. But Mayor, can I caveat by saying, I think it would be a good idea through the CEO if it was expressed to the applicants that there have been a whole heap of questions asked this morning of our current councillors have been here for 4 years. I imagine whoever's sitting here in a couple of weeks' time may have more, same number or more questions, and far better that we're leaving everything in a good place to be able to traverse this application than to automatically see the next council being legally challenged, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
But it'd be really good to get that so we could decide today what we do.
Yeah, so basically that's only a couple of hours or an hour or so, so.
I can call their consultant to start with and see if they have any short answer to it. If she's happy to agree, yeah, it's an email back and forth fairly quickly. If she needs to consult with her client, then yeah, I can.
Okay, so all those in favour of laying it on the table? 8-0.
Thanks, Kate.
Page 93.
I go to the chair, I go to the comfy chair.
14.3 NRMA electric vehicle charging station for Oma. I would like to move that acknowledges that report enacts council resolution OM/11.2023/6319 to receive and review the attached letter of intent and draft NRMA licence template for EV charging stations. Authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to A, sign the letter of intent, B, enter into a licence agreement with NRMA for the installation of 4 electric charging stations within Roma Cultural Centre Complex, Roma, Queensland 4455, specifically on Lot 5 on SP 103335. And I do want to make a change, is a potential site where NRMA electric vehicle charging infrastructure could be built. NRMA acknowledges that the precise location within the total area highlighted in red in the attached image is to be agreed by Maranoa Regional Council with changes to the red area. This is what I'm adding. Changes to the red area to reduce the size so it is focused on the car park, between PCYC and the Roma Show Society
So you
area.
mean it's limited.
Yeah, limited. So instead of that huge block in red, it's limited just to that car park.
The northeast corner.
Yeah, because that's where I think it will have the least impact. Like if you look, yeah, but anyway, I'll talk about it. So how do we put that in to reduce the size of the red to there?
Wouldn't you just say the PCYC car park? Because it's not,
Well-
this one's our car park, isn't it?
Mr Mayor, why don't you say that it's actually in the vicinity of the corner of Arthur Street and George Street West? So you're saying it's going into that little area where the existing car park
The
is?
northeast corner.
Yeah, northeast
So,
corner.
manager of economic development, so is there an easier way that you understand what we move if we move that?
Yep. The issue we have, and that's why we've kept it fairly broad, the real issue for us is to make sure that we have it on our land, because there is also PCYC land, or they've got their own agreements, so it complicates the whole area, where really what we're talking about is using our own existing lands. Therefore, it's a fairly straightforward process, and that's why we went. When I spoke to Alex, I said, let's keep it broad. We still have to, but it has to be on our land. So you could put that, must be within the land owned by, sorry, councillor.
That this whole block, apart from the tennis court, is council.
reserve.
Is council land.
What?
PCYC land is our land.
Okay, then I take it all back, because when I did check, I was informed that it was PCYC. That's why I thought I didn't want to complicate the issue for ourselves.
We've got a lease with PCYC, but it is.
Well, then the red really encompasses, because it will have to, the other thing we have to consider is it'll have to be also what's best in use for them, because they've got to find where the power is. We've identified 2 power sources, so it's going to be somewhere close to that power. They won't be going too far away, because they'll be looking for the path of least resistance, because it's all going to add up to more money, and they've only got a fixed grant.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone did this map, right? Why not just get the map reduced right down to it sits over, the red bit sits over Roma Show Society, where those words are, not to conflict Councillor Ladbroke, but over those words, and that's what goes back to them. It's very clear what the area we're specifying. So maybe just we've got GIS people, get a map done that specifies that area, and we deal with it after.
And if I could, through the chair, we could also, the issue for us today is NRMA can't move until they get a letter of intent signed, because they've got to get that done. And it's a non-binding agreement, I think it's been raised, but that could be put in the letter of intent, so at least gives them clarity as to where council is currently thinking.
But that was consistent then
Yes.
with the deputation we had. They know exactly where, you're just trying to put in exactly where we said that's where we want it. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought when we discussed this, it was on the Quinton Street side. Car park.
No.
Corner, sorry.
No.
No.
Just to follow up on what Councillor O'Neill said, so if you do draw it in, where exactly, so we know in this meeting now, where exactly is it going to
They
go?
don't know.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, no, but if you put the
You
red
need to do
bit
is
in
limit
there on the map, is it going to go up and hit the PCYC centre?
No, we do need, the only caveat I'd put on this, or my advice would be, it's going to have to be in proximity to where the substation is, because they're going to have.
Come back with a map and it's wrong again, then we have to change it again. So I'm just wondering, at this point in time, where is the area?
Yep.
It's
Like
a
on the
U-shaped,
thing.
Where it says Roma Show Society.
Like it's not over the Rome Show Society building.
No.
It's under those words.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, that's what we're saying between pieces, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, right, so you know exactly where it's going to go.
Yep.
But for the purpose of making a decision,
Yes.
the red should just be reduced to be over the top
Yes.
of that.
Yeah, that's good. I know,
Yes,
make it
exactly.
easy.
third of the car park.
You want to show them?
Just the car
Yes.
park, yeah.
Mr Mayor, can I suggest we lay this on the table till we get the new little red map? Because we can do it after morning tea or something, because we need to be really clear,
So just
clear where we're giving permission for them to actually be.
Correct.
No.
So, any
I'm
other
happy-
questions
I'm happy to lay it
before
on the
we do
table.
that, so we don't have to come back?
Just so we can
Okay.
get the better red map.
I'll-
to
All
confirm.
those in favour of laying on the table just to get a changed map to have a
Later in the meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
later.
Meeting.
I'll get it done now.
Yep, that'd be great.
It could be a
Thank
short
you.
meeting, so you've done now.
Thanks, Greg.
Otherwise, we'll have a charging station everywhere. I want to get it done.
Okay, so it was 9-0, was it? Yeah.
Is that my vision, or is it?
To the CEO, with that, that's just where the actual car parks are going.
That's
They
exactly
have to
right.
run a cable to pick up the station. That's different, you know.
Yes, that's right.
Can I don't know, can I just make the suggestion we break for morning tea now?
Yeah, we have. I've got one to add to the agenda, but we can do it afterwards. Is morning tea there?
I don't know, but it's just the next item is, we've got a deputation over morning tea. Oh, that's all. Yeah.
It is. Okay, we'll just break for morning tea. Yep. Have we, Kel?
Yep, 11:46. 11:42.
So what was the final wording that we can? Yep, okay. Yep. Righto, so I've read them out. So I'll also add to that point, Roma Cultural Centre Complex, Roma, Queensland 4455, specifically Lot 5 and SP 103335, as highlighted in red with the amended map provided to councillors at the meeting after morning tea, is a potential site where NRMA electric vehicle charging infrastructure could be built or, yeah, probably could be built. Okay.
Do we really have to have after morning tea? This is
Well,
going to be an official
well, we
letter.
got a map before.
When
So.
will we ever put after lunch or after morning
Yeah, I
tea?
don't think that.
It
I
doesn't
think
look
he's referring
professional
to-
when you send it
I think
on.
he's referring to the second map.
It's the two maps, and how do you identify them?
Well,
Unless they've got a
maybe
code on them.
First map, second map.
Second map.
Second map.
Okay, well, we'll put second map then.
I'm happy to second it.
Righto.
With that change, I was going to
Well,
raise
actually,
that.
third map. Because the first one was the original one.
Well, you just got to, you got
Third
to,
map.
Shushburger,
you
shush.
got to have, you've got to have clarity.
It is the second map.
No, one in the thing, and then we got that false
Can you?
one.
She
Yep,
took that
no,
away
that's
and
good.
put red around it.
Because they've both got maps with red things
We had
on.
the original one, then they did this one.
Okay, so does anyone wish to speak to it?
I'll speak. I am.
Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, through the chair. I'm happy to second this. I think this is a better outcome that was originally discussed, I think, back at the end of 2023. This site will have the least amount of impact, I believe, with the loss of car parks, given the proximity to all the other car parks that are in this overall, recreational, sport and local government precinct. And I think the work that has been done with councillors' input, with NRMA, to get to this point, I think this is an important step. We recognise, as a regional centre, there probably isn't too much demand from locals for this type of service, but there will be more and more battery-powered vehicles coming into our region, travelling from the more dense populated areas in the southeast, and we need to have a charging station locally if we're going to attract them into our community.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor
I
Ladbroke?
just think that's a good site for the charging station, and I think it's good because it shows we're moving with the times, and we've just got to do these things.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak? I'll speak. I'll support this because it's putting residents first, using space that's generally not a capacity, and I think that's positive rather than taking away valuable parking spots for residents. So I'm certainly supportive of this initiative. Does anyone else wish to speak? Does the mover wish to sum up, which is me? No. All those in favour? 9-0. What was the next, Kel?
Which is the MCU.
L1, minor change to existing development permit, material change of use, undefined use, reference 2022/20698. I would like to, yeah? Oh, conflict.
Yep.
Did you declare that last time?
We couldn't because we did.
I thought you actually did in a meeting last time.
I have done in a meeting.
So
at
you don't
some
need to
stage.
declare it, you can just,
Don't have to do again.
no, it's
It's
exactly the same.
That'd be right, Kelly, wouldn't it? Exactly the same. So So do I have to read it?
Just read it.
You can read the top line if you wish for clarity.
Okay.
Leaving the meeting for discussion.
Item over conflict with L1.
Or just that top line.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Ladbroke.
Councillor Ladbroke advised that he would leave the meeting and for the discussion and consideration of the following matter, having previously declared interest when initially considered at an ordinary meeting on the 28th of February 2024.
Okay. I'd like to move that this be deferred. Do we have any wording there?
What did we use last time? That this matter be deferred to the next term of council, to a maximum.
new term.
You need a date though, don't you?
Not for a minor change, the city's deemed refusal for a minor change, so you don't need to set the date. If you wanna give, like, if you would like it deferred sort of
So maybe
post
to
the
the
first
first
meeting.
meeting in May, is that
Yeah.
too late?
That's fine.
And then we need to undertake consultation.
Yep,
With stakeholders.
Yeah.
to allow, yeah.
With stakeholders and affected residents. And we're not just talking ones next to each other.
So through the chair, should we say further consultation, because we've done,
Yeah,
Some?
I would prefer some clarification on what you want done there.
yep,
Is it, are we having meetings with everyone, are we just sending additional notices, what would you like done with further consultation?
Well, I think we've heard that there might be other views that can come into it. But definitely stakeholders, because that's everyone that's,
so through the chair, do you need something specific? So say for argument's sake, I know comments that were talked about were like a mediation kind of thing. Is it consultation we want, or to bring the parties together to see if there's a resolution?
With council too, like.
well, we need to hear
Oh,
all
sorry,
of the
that's up to you.
issues. Yeah,
Yep.
like, what I would like to move is that we hear all of the issues that are around, plus obviously working with the proponent on, perhaps solutions to that, if they're amenable to talk about it.
So would you like a briefing?
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing.
Well, it would be good because you'll have new councillors in the room and,
Probably would be good to have a
Let
briefing
it start
from the
again.
council.
And that this be presented to a future brief, until the first meeting in May, to allow for further consultation about stakeholders and affected community members. Do you want it at a briefing and bring the matter to a briefing prior to May,
Yeah.
prior
Yeah.
to the May
To
meeting?
update new council, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that you've got. Sorry, Kel. Matter to a briefing prior to the meeting in May. So that'll give them 12. They pick one meeting. Okay.
yeah, I'd like to move that this matter be deferred to allow for further consultation to take part with stakeholders and affected.
Is it?
Beg pardon?
You said part, take place.
Take place with stakeholders and affected community members at a briefing prior to the first meeting. Well, we just say
And a
at
briefing,
members.
and a briefing,
com-
because you don't
And a
necessarily want.
briefing, yeah, that's right.
'cause-
And a briefing prior to, well, we just say brought back to council, because it might be, brought back to the general meeting or whatever. So we're getting the briefing in there.
Yeah, right,
and
being
then-
brought back to the general meeting, yeah.
Yeah,
the-
not
the
jamming
first
people
ordinary
with
meeting.
dates.
The ordinary meeting, yep.
Yeah, it mightn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Edwards, does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
Good on you, Mark. just had a bit of shock.
Thanks, Kate.
Is there nothing else, Kel?
One more.
Yeah,
L2.
L2.
Yours,
Back
11.
page.
Oh, L2.
Last page, at the back.
Right at the back.
L2, traffic signage at the intersection of Foot Street and Jackson Street, Roma. I'd like to move that a report be prepared for an upcoming council meeting. Councillor McMullen, do you have a question?
No, it's got an amendment.
Please go
We're going to
ahead.
Do that intersection, I think there's a couple of others probably, I know this is the one that's been raised in a couple of other intersections that probably.
Did you want to add anything in?
Off the top of my head, but all intersections in, can't say Nappy Hill, but Maranoa. Because there's quite a few places where the road changes, you go from just 2 or 3 where you come up one street and you cross over like that, so.
Just have it in there and staff identify other concerning corners within the vicinity of this street. I know what you're getting at.
You're not talking like...
Can I just ask what the signage is? Is it street signs or what sort of signs?
Well, really up to the officers to give us, but we know there's had accidents up there, so...
Give way and stop sign.
Okay, I just didn't know if it was, what sort of signs.
Councillor
The
McMullen?
ones that I'm referring to, Mr Mayor, when a street finishes, when it hits one street, and there's another one there, they're different streets. Legally, they are T-junctions, but people don't treat them as a T-junction, so I'm assuming they want to put give way signs up there. Once you get a T-junction, you're supposed to give way, but no signage, they just,
Like a end of a scam.
But this particular intersection is a,
it's not.
it's a crossroad,
That is a crossroad, yeah, but
and 3 accidents have happened in there in the last 18 months.
Coddle's one of those ones that goes like that.
yeah.
You know,
Okay.
like you were talking about.
So I've moved that a report be prepared for an upcoming council meeting and staff identify other concerning intersections within the vicinity. We have a second, Councillor Taylor. Does anyone wish to speak?
I seconded it.
Oh, that's right, you did too.
Sorry.
I thought I did.
Yeah, no, you did. Well, you moved an amendment,
Yeah.
actually. So, and I've accepted that. So you're happy to second that anyway, Councillor McMullen. So, does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour, 9-0. You got nothing else, Kel?
That's the last open.
Did you want to move your item without,
Well, there's
without
two, sorry.
notice?
Oh, yeah,
So
that's it.
on this one?
Okay, I'd like to move an item without notice, resumption of land for rates. So what would be LC5? I'd like to move that be put on the agenda. Do we have confidential closed agenda? We have a seconder, Councillor Edwards. All those in favour of putting it on the agenda? 9-0. Okay, do we have someone to move into closed? Councillor Burkett.
Oh, this is another short one. In accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the council resolved to close the meeting to the public to discuss confidential items that the council consider necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following table provides the matters to be discussed, an overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is closed. C1, overdue natural gas accounts, commencement of legal action. C2, nomination of projects, community energy upgrades fund round 1. C3, memorial wall nomination. LC1, Roma Salyard sculpture. LC2, bore 21 progress. LC3, Headache Hill Quarry Sustainability Report 2024. LC4, Insurance Claims and Planning Update 2024. LC5, Resumption of Land for Rates.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor O'Neill. All those in favour? 9-0. Oh, hang on, we didn't do one.
Yes, you have, you've got 14.2 still
No, no.
outstanding.
No, we haven't.
No, it's
I
still
move we go
outstanding,
back
isn't
into
it?
close.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen, all those in favour?
The one that the mayor put on.
9-0.
Sorry, there's no
Oh, the
report though, is
resumption,
there?
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just adjourn for a minute. 1, overdue natural gas account, commencement of legal action. Do we have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that council endorse the next step in the utilities debt recovery process, that is to proceed to filing a statement of liquidated claim with the local magistrates court after the 6th of March 2024, serving upon the natural gas consumers who have 1, not paid the outstanding charges, 2, not entered into an appropriate payment arrangement, and or 3, not complied with an appropriate payment arrangement.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen, any opposition? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
Wendy didn't have a conflict on.
No, she doesn't do
No,
that.
she must have a
She must be somewhere.
No, she went for a conflict, but anyway.
Yeah, but
No, but
But
the
she's not
officer
sitting
went,
outside,
the
so
officer went to
They
get
went
her.
out to get her, but she's not there.
just makes a call, we can't.
Okay,
15.
And there'll be a different resolution up there.
okay, C2, nomination of projects, Community Energy Upgrade Fund
Go and
round.
wait for them.
Maybe sitting out there.
Well, Kate went out there.
No, Mandy might have been in the toilet.
Yeah, she might have been concentrating on something else.
Won't be further
Okay.
disposed of.
Okay, C2, nomination of projects, Community Energy Upgrades Fund round 1. Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 apply for funding under the Australian Government's Community Energy Upgrades Fund Round 1 for the following projects. Project 1, solar panel installation on the roof of Roma Airport Administration Building. Project 2, solar panel and infrastructure installation at Bore 19. Project 3, solar panel and infrastructure installation at Bore 17. 2, include the co-contributions of $150,000 in the 2024-25 budget if successful. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign funding agreement and any other necessary documentation if successful.
I'll second that.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrook. Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
8-0?
9-0, sorry. Moving on to C3, Memorial Wall nomination. Do we have a mover? Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that 1, council approve the nomination of Donald Don Turner for placement of a plaque on the Roman Saleyards Memorial Wall. 2, installation of the plaque take place at a future event after the memorial wall has been opened. And 3, council continue to liaise with the Roma Saleyards stakeholder group to continue to progress with future nominations as received.
Okay, we had a seconder, Councillor Guthrie. Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, moving on to late. LC1, Roma Saleyard Sculpture. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I will move that council approve an increase of the sale yards acquisitive prize money from $25,000 to $35,000 as part of the Roma Sale Yards 2024-25 Capital Works budget.
We have a seconder, Councillor O'Neill. Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. LC2, Bore 21 Progress. Do we have a mover? Councillor Burkett.
I'll just wait it comes up, Mr Mayor. Oh, nearly read that one. I'd like to move that Council 1 continue with the recommended option provided by the state government. 2, write to the relevant minister seeking urgent additional grant funds from the state to support the additional costs and licence of the recommended option. 3, approve to up to $40,000 as an additional contribution to fund further drilling on the basis that its essential infrastructure be sourced from the work order 22827, Sewage Pump Station 1, Rome, additional capacity. 4, be provided with a further report at a future meeting in relation to the outcomes of the project.
We have a seconder, councillor Ladbroke. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, LC3, Headache Hill Quarry Sustainability Report 2024. Councillor Guthrie.
I'd like to move that council, number 1, receive and note the report, and 2, a briefing be held to further consider the information provided.
Councillor Guthrie, would you consider also pointing point 3 that this be considered as part of 24-25 budget?
I would.
Can we have a seconder, councillor Ladbroke? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, LC4, Insurance Claim and Planning Update 2024. Councillor Burkett.
Lay this on the table till the next term of council. To a future meeting. Next
All
term.
those in favour? 9-0.
Excellent.
Laid on. Yeah, don't need a seconder for that one. Okay, we've got one more thing, have we?
Yeah, just waiting.
We'll just adjourn just to get some advice.
Resumption of land for
Resumption of land for rates. I'd like to move that Council 1, receive and note the report. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to negotiate an appropriate payment plan. Do we have a seconder, Councillor Burkett? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, we'll just adjourn till we get some information. Okay, so we'll keep going with the meeting. Yeah, well, we'll just adjourn. 14.2, material change of use to establish a food and drink outlet. Drive-through coffee at 41 Quinton Street, Roma, reference 2023/20962. Do we have a mover? Councillor Ladbroke.
I'd like to move that the development application for the material change of use of the food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee shop and operational works advertising device at 41 Quinton Street, Roma, described as Lot 1 on RP 41599 be, I think, do we want to refuse it or?
You'll move it,
Well,
either move it as
You've
is.
got that
preliminary,
What was the,
approval?
what was
Well,
the,
you've got another one there to look at.
There's another motion, if you want
Oh,
to
yes.
do that preliminary approval, is that
Okay,
one? Or
I'll
if
do
you
that one.
want the,
Yep.
which one did you want, the
Preliminary
refusal
one,
or
that
the
one
other?
there. I'd like to, so we'll get rid of that one. And development details, number 1, approved development. Development is a material change of use, food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee, as defined in the planning scheme as shown on the approval plans. This development approval is preliminary approval only in accordance with section 49 -2 of the Planning Act 2016, the preliminary approval development, but
Approves development. Sorry, Kel, you need to scroll a bit further down, sorry.
does not authorise the carrying out of accessible development. Keep going.
Yes.
Further approval, submit an application for the development permit for the material change of use subject to the conditions of approval, access and manoeuvring. Number 3, entrance to the development, where are we? Entrance to the development is to via Bowen Street, with a left in access only. 4, proposed entrance design must address amendments to the existing line marking, including cycle lanes to accommodate left turning across, turning traffic into the development. 5, proposal must demonstrate manoeuvring for a medium rigid vehicle and rubbish collection vehicle entering and exiting the site in forward gear. All manoeuvring areas must be clear of the vehicle parking and queuing areas. 6, the proposal must be amended to show queuing on site of six vehicles from the first conflict point being the order point. A queuing must be clear of vehicle parking areas.
All queuing, sorry, must be clear.
Queuing parking areas.
Yeah,
All queuing.
you got to give a statement after, don't you? Yeah. Oh.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Edwards. Does the move wish to speak to the motion?
No, I just think, I think just give them a chance to come up with the goods, you know, like they're prepared to spend a lot of money in Roma. And I just think it's not a full approval, but it just gives them the chance to come up to what we want.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor McMullen.
Mr. Mayor, I don't approve, I won't be approving, supporting this motion. I don't believe that corner, the land concerned or the block in the thing is a safe enough area. The traffic far too close to the corners and that for traffic, other traffic and that coming around, it's going to end up being a major, could end up being a major accident area.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Councillor Hancock.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to support this because I do want to support business development in Roma, and so I'm supporting this because this gives the applicant an opportunity to address some of the safety concerns about on that corner and how that might so that they can address the safety concerns around the traffic management plan around that corner. So I'm happy to give them an opportunity to address those traffic concerns. If they can't address those traffic concerns, I won't be supporting it, but at least this gives an opportunity for business development if an amended traffic plan can come up.
Okay, does someone wish to speak against the motion?
Still got splinters on my backside here.
I'll speak for it.
Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, I'll speak for it too. Same, same sentiments. That is, very pro-economic development in this town. And this does give us the opportunity of dealing with the issues. I'll be supporting it. I'd just like to thank Kate, for offering, we've got this proposal, at least we've got not the original one, but at least we've got this one we can go on. And so I appreciate that. So yeah, I'll be voting for it.
Can I ask the officer, when it comes to, the refusal and that, was it all around the traffic onto the highway?
Mm-hmm.
And if these conditions are met, does that deal with those issues? If you have two-way in and out, like is that safer?
It's definitely safer than the current proposal, yes, because it stops the queuing and the turning manoeuvres impacting the heavy vehicle, particularly that heavy vehicle turning manoeuvre heading north from Warrego Highway. Yes.
Yeah, And is it true that Main Roads have approved it?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, just a question too. Manager Kate, the information you gave us earlier about, I don't know whether I can ask you or not, but the flexibility with these guys, if they say no to this, will it come back to a future meeting, or it could go to a...
So, given this has been decided at council, our usual process is that if they come back to either negotiate the conditions to try and get a development permit, or when they next submit a development permit with a new plan, my process would be to bring it back to council, given it was previously decided.
So there's a
at
good
council.
chance. I'm torn between what it can look like and the safety issues to economic development and working around that, if they agree to that. So I'm a bit torn because on its current form, how they've put it, and I don't agree with, but our stipulations, if they agree to them, I am supportive, but whether it comes back to get another chopper here in this room, that's the only... So it should do.
Yep.
Councillor O'Neill?
Talk about leaving an absolute curler to the very last decision of this term of council. I hope everyone's seen, not a fence sitter, but I tell you what,
I am at the moment.
I am very much sitting on the fence on this one. I get the economic development, and I am so pro-economic development, and we should be welcoming this type of investment, because over the course of the last 12 years, there have been others that have tried to do this, and for a myriad of different reasons, it hasn't gone ahead. And that's been a disadvantage to our community, right? The safety thing is really concerning me. We made some bold and necessary decisions to mitigate safety risks on a very different corner, but a very similar corner, and that has been to the benefit of our community. So I am so torn today because of knowing that one of the worst corners in our community for accidents is this corner. And it is paining me so much, because you've got to make a decision, and I'm going to support it. I think if there's a safety net there to be able to at least negotiate with them to get the access of Bowen Street and the exit onto Quinton Street, then we should at least give that a try to not disadvantage the community having options in for those that, partake in drinking coffee and whatever else this business provides. But we've got to be stressing that we've got to get the safety right. Because the moment there's an accident, the blame will be firmly on council for approving this. However it's badged up, however it looks, however it's, shared in the community, it'll be long forgotten how this happened, but it'll be that council made the decision. So because the condition will be the access off Bowen Street and exit onto Quinton Street, I'm going to give them a chance to get to that point where we can see, that economic investment into our community. So I'm off the fence. I'm going to support it.
I'll just speak for it.
No, you moved it.
You moved it. You'll get
Yeah,
some up.
but have you spoken for it yet?
Yeah.
Wait till the end and you get a chance to sum up.
Right, who else wants to speak? Councillor Guthrie?
I'm going to say that when I saw this in the agenda and I read through it all, I came with a very clear notion of what I was going to do, and my intention was to follow the recommendation, which was to basically not approve. Because as I sat back and thought about the number of accidents and the fact that you have a school on that corner, and historically that has been the worst corner in Roma, I'm talking decades, and the number of accidents, many decades. And I am a bit perplexed as to why, when you've had TMR make so many changes and then have people coming from the western part of Bowen Street then only be able to turn. So there's been many steps that they've done to try and improve safety. It absolutely perplexes me to understand how TMR can once again give approval to this and not see the possible or potential or the what might happen when you've got a very, very large franchise, a very popular franchise in a very visible place. And even by doing this approval with the conditions, I'm still very aware that this is going to be a very popular establishment at the times when students and their parents will be going to a school. I'm very concerned, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to vote for it today. I'm very, very mindful that I have concerns about safety, but by doing this, this is giving the onus back to this particular group of people who wish to establish a new food outlet, is to basically say, happy to have economic development, but conditional upon safety. And I just think we have to emphasise that we are doing a conditional based on safety, and those safety issues need to be addressed. And I'm also going to maybe suggest, Mr Mayor, that this may not be our last agenda. Maybe we do an agenda without notice and maybe write a letter to TMR after we do whatever the outcome of this is, just expressing again our disappointment of being us being the arbiters of safety and trying to make sure that our people continue to be safe.
Councillor Burkett?
Now, I'm pretty sure mine was all question last time. I don't think I crossed the line there before.
Oh, you did.
I too was a fence sitter, and yeah, if it wasn't definitely that safety net, and that's why I asked those questions, I would have been voting with Councillor McMullen, because on its current form, I could not support it. But if it's able to come back to council with whether they agree or disagree, that sits well with me. But because I definitely don't want to stop a new business coming to town. But I do have concerns on the inconsistency with TMR allowing this when, you know, a big safety issue. So I'll be supporting on it with the proviso that it can come back to council for the final decision. So I'll support it today.
Okay, well, I'm going to speak in favour of the motion. Couple of points, I think, for people in the community. This wouldn't even come to council if it didn't have issues, as far as I understand, with the traffic flow. I think it's right to reject what they wanted to do. I think it's not safe. I think council, with this preliminary approval, puts some very important things that we want to see to improve the safety of having in and out and taking the pressure away from the highway, and as far as I understand, exiting into the highway rather than from the highway. So I think that is common sense. We wouldn't even get to approve this if they didn't have issues, so I think everyone's got to take that into consideration. I think that, you know, this is a very big franchise, Zafra's, and if they want to come to Roma, we've got fantastic businesses in the Maranoa already, and I think, you know, we should really focus on making it safe but not stopping development. So I will be supporting this, and I'd much rather than go to the Planning Environment Court over without saying we're giving you another option, go and have a look at your option. And it's up to them to do that. And if they do that, I think that will be a better result. And for the councillors that are worried that it's going to be a bad option, it's going to come back here anyway. So you're going to get to make another decision. So this is not the end of it. But hopefully a better plan comes to be able to use that block safely, and council won't get in the road of development. Okay, does the move wish to sum up?
Yeah, I'll just sum up. I just think the main roads, TMR, would have seen a lot of these scenarios over the period of time, and I think that's why, you know, they would do thousands and thousands of these, you know, road issues, and so I just think to give them the chance to the people, and we still have control over what happens with the site. So this just gives them another go at it. Thank you.
Okay, then on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-1 if I can call for division. CEO, could we,
Statement of reason.
Yes,
yeah,
That's you.
and the division was it
7-1.
Was that councillor Edwards against it or?
No, councillor McMullen.
Statement of reason.
Yeah, I just think,
You got to read that.
supporting a business development in Roma and the preliminary approval provides an opportunity for the applicant to submit an amended traffic plan to improve access to manoeuvring as aspects of the development.
Okay, CEO, could we do another motion off this motion to TMR, or do we have to?
Through the chair, you can. You've had those comments in relation to, it's germane still to the subject matter.
Councillor Guthrie?
I'd like to, actually, in a second part of this, I'd like to move a motion that council write to the Department of Transport and Main Roads expressing disappointment over a recent decision that was made.
Excuse me, councillor, just one thing for perhaps a suggestion of amendment. Because we know they're doing this through the state and it's going to happen, is it better to actually write to the district director or, and actually ask about any safety improvements that could be made on that corner, noting the suggested approval?
Just a question, Mr. Mayor, not to butt in. Where's the district director?
Oh, well, okay, local manager.
But they have no say. We went through.
No, but they have a say on what they do on their network from now on. So what I'm saying is, the state has given these approvals, so you could do that and it's probably got not much effect.
Yeah.
Or could you focus with the local hierarchy that make the decisions, that we know we've had some success, and say, is there any treatment they can do to this? So it's up to
Mayor,
you.
I'm going to say no. I'm not going to.
Officer Kate's got something to offer when you're ready,
Sorry,
councillor.
you may just want to change it to you write to the State Assessment and Referral Agency, because they're actually the decision maker.
Okay.
So Main Roads are a supporting agency, but the decision will eventually come from SARA. So the decision to approve was from them, so you should be writing to them. And then you can have your separate conversations with the local Main Roads about safety improvements.
Maybe that become part number 2, but I think because the decision has been made and approval has been given, and we are now trying to do the remedial action, which is giving, we're basically given approval, but subject to conditions for them to make the changes to make it safe. I actually think that we need to express our disappointment over a recent decision that council, and I'm happy to have advice from my colleagues, that council collectively expressed concern over existing and potential safety on the corner of Bowen and Quinton Streets. And I'd like to put in brackets there, please, Kel, an intersection that has basically the Carnarvon Highway.
I was going to suggest.
The Carnarvon Highway from east, west, south and north all meet, basically.
Warrego and
It's Warrego and
What
Carnarvon.
I was waiting for, councillor Guthrie, till you finish, and I was going to suggest an amendment or whatever, that council talk to TMR or whoever it is about the criteria they use to,
Can we put that as number 2?
Yeah,
Assessment.
Yeah.
because for these highway or their main arterial roads.
Because I think we need to note here that that particular corner is actually the meeting point of east, west, north and south. And I know Surat actually joins the Carnarvon Highway further down. I know that. But you're basically feeding anybody coming from each of those 4 different directions, they hit that corner. And I am very, very aware of the safety, and I think I'm talking collectively here of the council speaking and expressing concerns over existing and potential safety on this corner.
Would you Councillor Guthrie, after the brackets, comma, a intersection that has had countless accidents over the last 20 years.
Oh, it's longer than that.
Well,
Yeah,
pick
I
a-
mean,
pick a-
it's
100 years.
historically, it has been it's a problematic corner. Yeah,
I witnessed one there from Kentucky.
Countless accidents, full stop.
yes, please. It's been there for many, many decades.
Surely TMR would have taken all that into
Yeah, but
Are
account.
you happy
well,
to
we're gonna
move that?
Monday morning.
And
Yes.
number two, that's when I'd like to think about that liaise with the relevant department, senior officers of TMR
Locally?
locally.
It's done in Toowoomba, Tyson, it's not locally.
No, but
Well, just
we
put
have-
both.
Well, because they've said here they try and they don't.
But
they
if you
got no
put
say.
senior officers TMR, that covers both.
Yeah.
Yep,
Locally and regionally.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because I'm talking about the whoever's, manager, director here is working on the network all the time to improve.
Well, if we put locally and regionally, we love.
Yeah.
Yeah, locally and regionally, to be able to determine the way forward for similar sorts of applications, for similar types of
Biggest
development.
issue is,
I don't think Councillor Taylor has a conflict on this.
Oh, no, she does not.
No.
the issue is
Well, it is when we talk
gotta
about the
get
corner
through
still,
to
isn't it?
the
We're not.
department
Still in the same area.
Not on the corner.
What's the difference of
She's
the
got
block
still
and the
got
corner?
Bowen Street
It's
up
still
there.
property in
Still
that
got the
street.
land there.
It's
Yeah.
What I'm trying to suggest is, we've got to get it somehow that the authority down in Toowoomba or Brisbane work with our group. Our group are trying to work with it, not our group, with the locals.
That's what we got locally and regionally.
Yeah.
That covers it.
I think that does cover it.
Well,
I'm
not,
happy to
not the
open
way
it.
forward, it's about, it's about the assessment, as
That's what
Councillor
I'm
McMullen was
It's the
saying, it's not
commission.
about the way forward,
But
it's
at the
about
moment, the local people here are told to keep out of it.
locally
Nothing to
and
do with them.
regionally.
Maybe it's about future
Most
development
senior officers, but-
assessments or something
Assessments,
like that. Because we've had a couple of, we've had two in this term that have been very controversial.
Yeah,
We're
determine
trying to then say
future develop,
For any
future assessments.
future assessments.
No, I still don't see anything there that's to get through to the big bosses to make sure that the local TMR are allowed to contribute. At the moment, my understanding was with that Main Street, the other one, they were told to keep out. That's
Why
You
not
can't tell
two?
them how to do their own business, but can
The
you?
Maranoa Regional Council write to the Minister and senior bureaucracy raising concerns about this process, full stop, and allow the rest to happen. That's what I see what you're getting at now. You want to go up to here to fix what's happening down here.
Right to the
they
minister
must
and
have
senior
all these
officers raising
scenarios and they
concerns.
say, well,
Yeah.
this is fine.
Councillor Edwards?
Yeah, but
Safety
it's not
decisions
fine.
made
Tyson,
locally.
Not fine.
TMR, safety
Just
decisions.
reading here, and Kate would know this, but it says here, development referred to the state as assessed by Sarah with the Department of Transport and Main Roads, providing technical advice regarding the impacts of development on state transport interests.
Yeah, but I think Julie's
So-
talking about the future now.
I'm talking now.
No, I'm talking about Sarah passing it on to Main Roads. That's what I'm talking about.
We don't want Sarah
So,
passing
so
on
we're
to
telling
Main Roads.
Sarah, we're basically saying we're going to Sarah, but the ultimate problem is they're getting technical advice from the Department of Main Roads. So are they
That's the
going to pass it on? That's what
And
I'm.
through the chair, I think what the councillor is trying to say is that
Are they going to pass it on?
that it's a regional approach to assessment as opposed to actually taking local input in relation to that
That's what I'm
assessment
saying.
process.
What Councillor Edwards is saying is right, but
That's
the
right.
people in this area know what the problem is, but the people in Toowoomba are the ones that deal with it, not the people out here.
To just be clear, just to write to the Minister and senior officers raising concerns about the
Procedure that.
process to determine
The approval.
the
It's the approval.
approvals of these types of developments.
Yeah.
Full stop, like that's enough
That's it.
breadth for the, but I'd get rid of that second,
Yeah.
Because what I was trying to do was basically then say down the track,
Yeah.
Future
we don't want to be
assessments.
put into this situation with TMR giving decisions and giving approval.
I'm happy to second that.
Yeah.
Righto, does anyone wish to speak?
I'm happy to say that I think I've said enough.
Righto, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Any further business?
Just need to go back to do a statement of reason
Yes.
on that last one.
No,
Councillor Ladbrook
He read it out.
read it out.
What was it?
no,
It's
no,
up on the
no,
screen.
yeah, he read that out.
Oh, I see, right.
Okay, any other business, councillors?
Okay, councillor.
Oh, Taylor,
Oh,
finish.
we need councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for the curly one for the last one.
For everything you've done.
Well done.
You're trusting me and I'm
But
gonna,
George,
no, I don't agree.
sense tells you
Common sense says they shouldn't have done it.
These fellas, that's all they ever do.
We're still in
Sarah
open
and that's it.
meeting.
I won't go any further.
Well, that's why I say we should go and see it.
Okay, any further business, councillors?
No.
Righto, well, I'd like to thank you. This, I think, is the last meeting of our term. Thank you for your attendance in the last 4 years and wish the new council all the best. And on that note, we will close the meeting at 2:41 PM and thank you for your attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.